guys, I'm Barrett and I have my blog called Wire in the City, which allows me to showcase my different wire sculptures and mobiles. And today I was even thinking about showing you guys how I put together one of my sculptures. So the sculpture I want to show today is actually one of my first designs, and it's that of a sugar skull. So I even happen to have one of the very first ones that I made right here with me. Let's see. Here she is, if you can see her. Him. So he's made out of sort of a thin wire around his head, and then he just has paper around his eyes. And like I said, this is one of my first models, so I made him quite a long time ago, and that's all the materials that I had at the time. However, since then, I'm in school for industrial design engineering, so I have all of these amazing tools, all of this amazing material that I get to use whenever I want, basically. So I figured this guy is going to get a bit of an upgrade today. And I think we're going to have to do this in two parts. The first part is just me putting together the wire base. And then the second part, I'm actually going to bring you to school with me and show you how I cut out this flower piece and his eye pieces out of copper. So let's do it. So here we go. The first thing I had to do was just measure out the wire, because these aren't exactly things that I keep measurements. Otherwise, I'd just have a ton of random wire laying around. For some reason, the chin took me a while to shape. I guess because, I don't know, the first thing I just want to get right the first time, or else it'll just mess up the rest of the piece. It'll just give me a lot of additional headaches later on. Luckily, I did have the original sugar skull with me, so that I was able to just sort of compare what I was doing to the original piece to get all of the sizing and such right. Otherwise, it would take me so much longer. Of course, when I'm doing the regular ones, or when I'm doing initial pieces, say preliminary pieces, I do have to sit there and sculpt the entire piece out, which it just takes ages. So when I get to do a second one, that's when I can actually get it put together in a reasonable amount of time, which can also be filmed as well. Let's see, he's getting his little dimples in his cheeks right now. And I did find that using this much thicker wire, of course it was harder to bend, but you just have to put more force into it. So now he's getting his cheeks as well, his little skull cheeks. And I wasn't too worried about getting it exact, because at the end, when all of the pieces are together, such as with the copper flower and his flower eyes, then I can really play with it more to get it exactly how I want it. But right now, it's just sort of a roughing phase. So now his eyes go in, and I'm just folding the wire over, because later on, I'll add his copper petal eyes. I think from this you can sort of already see how he's starting to take shape. And after I put in his little, I don't know what you call them, I guess they're like his eyebrow bones. I'm not a doctor. I think he's really starting to get some facial features now. He's becoming a face. Come on, skull. Clipping off some of that excess wire there. And the face structure is basically done by this point. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm measuring out wire for the teeth. And the teeth is going to be all made from one single piece of wire, just bent over and over and over. Now, like I've said, I've never made these teeth with the thicker wire, so it actually proves to be a bit of a pain, but like I said, just use more force and it'll go eventually. This is the first time I made the teeth in a while, so I'm sort of having to get back into the groove of it and remember how to do them, but that's how it is with all things as well. I don't keep any directions on how to make these. I'm just looking at the old model to sort of figure it out as I go. So now I'm going to speed it up a little bit because these teeth did take a while to make, I would say. And I'm sure you don't want to watch every single little tooth. Like I said, they just continue to be simply bent around my needle nose. And I just do that until they continue to become smaller and smaller for each tooth. I did notice when I was making the larger version of the teeth that I couldn't fit in as many teeth as I could with the skinnier wire. So I think there's about, maybe it's just one tooth less on either side with the large wire, but I think it still looks good. It didn't really make that huge of a difference. So the first set of teeth is complete, and now I had already done the second part of them beforehand, or the bottom jaw per se. This time I was smart, however, and just did them in a straight line. Like I said, it's going back to just sort of figuring it out as I go. Now they're together. There's our mouth. So now I'm making the attachment parts so that the two pieces fit together and they hang together as I want them to. Let's do a fit test. They seem to look pretty good, but at this point I think they're hanging a little wide. So I'm going to try to close the mouth a little bit more. So now I have the teeth how I like them, and I just have to attach them to the face. I'm going to use a little bit more force and clamp those suckers on there. So he's not the prettiest guy at the moment, but just wait and see. In the future he'll get his flower eyes and his flower hat, and he'll be looking much better. A couple more clamps to really strengthen that mouth on. And the head sculpture is now complete. Whew! Okay, so the wire part is finally done now, and the only parts I have left to do are the parts that I need to make in the machine, which I'm going to do tomorrow and then upload that as a second video. But here we go. We can see our sugar skull here, how he is so far. And if you want to see more pictures of the final thing, I'm going to link that down below that you can see in the blog. And then also you should follow up to see what he looks like in his finalized form. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time.